be live. Let me just check in on twitch.com real quick. Let's see. Alright, here we are. I see my thing. We got chat pulled up if anyone hops in. So yeah, today taking a little bit of a different pass. We're gonna do some animations for this little guy. I believe we were working on this guy on some old streams, so we'll take a stab. So what we have right now is just a very basic T-pose into like the rough neutral pose that it's gonna have. So actually I need to widen out the legs a little bit just to double check. So let's grab this. So get a keyframe for that. Okay, so K is the new thing. So just get location. You just want to store location. It's GX 0.25. It's roughly shoulder width. So then we'll just kick this to 40. So GX 0.25, I moved stuff, and KL. Let's double check screencast keys. Boom. Here we go, align right. Okay. Mouse size, let's make that a little bigger. Font size, make that a little bigger. There we go. That looks good. So let's save that real quick. Now people can actually see what I am typing in. So let's select this. Okay, so we've got these two keyframes. Let's just check on the hand here. So we go 40 to 60. So I want to take this keyframe, duplicate it to 60, and then this, and duplicate this to 100. That way, just as we play through, we can just double check movement, and then it pauses on the idle position that we want right there. So yeah, go back to here, and we'll give this the same treatment. KL, go up to 100, KL, see these are at 97. So we'll just grab these two and kick these to 97. That way everything's just the same. Okay, so now we go to 40 and GX minus 0.25. Enter KL. Grab this, duplicate it to 60. Save it again. And now, see, everything behaves. Okay, so the first thing that we'll need to do is check my Discord. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Let's pull up a few other tools that would be really handy. The nonlinear animator, just so I can see what's going on here. And then I actually want right here is going to be my timeline. Maybe open that up a little bit more. And then down here, bring that up a little bit. And then down here, we'll have our dope sheet. And we'll actually have this on the action editor. So the action editor and the nonlinear animator work really well together. And I'll be using the nonlinear animator to name all my animations and kick those out as part of the FBX. Okay. So, open up the summary here. So here's what we get. We get these IKs going on. What are you? And IK, right? Grab this, tuck it back to there. I should see everything. Okay. This is not an extremely helpful animation for us. So what do we actually want? We actually want a quick... So looking at this, we want a... Let me turn down the audio going to the stream real quick. So what we're gonna end up wanting is... I don't think we need the T-pose at all, actually. But we might as well do one of these. So we'll grab the summary here, drag this to frame 2, delete those, and now if we put this to 2, it does this. Now we essentially have a T-pose, the next neutral pose, because we want to work off of this neutral pose 90% of the time. I'm going to delete the T-pose entirely, actually. We'll make this a 1-frame strip here, and we'll just call this base pose. So we're going to be building off of this because we have the T that we can start from, but we can also start from this known neutral pose. So we'll do this as 1 frame 1 to 1, push down, and here we go. Base pose is up here. So now we bring this back out to 100, let's say. Boop, it does this, and then even if we go all, and then Alt G and R, and then play, snaps back into this. Where if I deselect this, and then Alt G and R, and then play, nothing happens. So now we've got this base pose that we can toggle on and have it at least grab these positions, so if we ever need them, we can do that. And that'll also be handy because we'll be baking in a lot of these animations to the skeleton because like the IK and that stuff won't transfer out through the FBX. So that'll be important for us to have. Let's actually open up this base pose here. And let's grab all the bones, and I want to make sure that these are baked. So every bone has the stuff. So 1 to 1. Visual keying. Overwrite current action. Okay. Now we got a whole lot more bones down here. Like a whole lot more. So, I'm actually going to turn off only selected bones. And then we're going to bake action. Okay. And that did it for the whole thing. 1 to 1. There we go. Booyah. So now we save. And we unlink from the action editor. So now if we go in here and do Shift Tab, we can see it's a 1-frame animation with a whole lot of bones, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want. So now we can Shift Tab back out of that, deselect this, bring us back to 1, and we're good to go. We're good to start on an animation. So the most important one is going to be a walk. So let's get a walk going. Let's start with these. Let's see, item, yep, those are all keyed. Gonna key those That's another important one. This is going to be important, this is going to be important, and this is going to be important. So now if we grab all these, we can see here are our walk cycle controls that we're going to use. Oh, we can give it the Giga Chad movement. I don't know. We'll leave the shoulders alone. We'll keep it nice and squared up for now. So, yeah, the walk cycle, we're gonna do a 1 second cycle on its walk. And start nice and easy here. Let me see. We're clipping out of the back of here. So we're gonna redo some of the weight painting. Okay, and then we're gonna grab this whole summary, duplicate this to frame 25, which we can see here when I had that selected. So if I grab it again, you can see in parentheses 25. So it's a good thing I double checked because I didn't have it on the right one. So now, whatever I do, it'll loop properly. So now we want to go, let's actually zoom in on here because we don't need to see that much of the timeline. We actually want a little finer control. So 13 is now our middle point, right? So we are going to copy this pose, but flipped. So we're going to go pose, and we're going to go copy pose, and we're going to grab everything, and we are going to paste pose flipped. Booyah! And now we can say, okay, these are our important ones for what we were just doing. So let's key those in at 13. So now we can see, boom, the start of a walk cycle. It's like if you're stuck on an ice rink in flip-flops. If you hear a noise in the back, that is my air conditioning unit. It is finally not 80 plus degrees. It is a crisp 74 in here right now. And my computer isn't having a stroke anymore. So that's nice. That's all in Fahrenheit for anyone who looks at this that's not in the US. So, yeah. So yeah, weight painting needed, as we can see. Some clipping issues on here, but that'll be easy to sort out later. I want to make sure that these legs do what I want them to do. So let's just grab this, right? So we've got here 7 is going to be our next midpoint here. And this one's moving back, so that's fine. But it's this, that on 7, we want to lift it up just a smidge. So now, there we go. And then 19 is going to be our other midpoint here. And let's see, on 7, how high up did we go? We'll just copy that, and then go over to 19, grab this, paste that in there, and grab that. These feet seem pretty far out to me. So yeah, it looks like it's walking with something up its pants. So we'll grab something after that. So he's got absolutely zero bounce in his step. But that's fine. Let's go ahead and grab these. Let's just throw in X symmetry right now. So we look here. I like this a little better. So we'll throw that. I'll grab that too. And then we just go to 7. You don't have a keyframe at 7. That's fine for right now. So now we just grab this X value and just paste it through and rekey stuff. And then we do that here. So here we have this value that looks a little better. So we just paste it through and make sure that we rekey everything. You can see these are now a little off center. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the bone. Just grab all of these. And we are going to clear those keyframes. No, don't have any of those. I want to go back here and just clear those keyframes because those are parented in. We can see we've got a little issue here. Oh, okay. So this got more. So we'll just take this, duplicate this over here. There we go. And yeah, so what we have right now is a need to work a little bit more on the toe rolls and that sort of stuff, but to make sure that everything looks how I want it to look. So when you reach out, you're right now at like maximum extension on this leg. And when you step to here, you're now on maximum extension on this leg, but it's underneath you. So you're a little taller than you would be. So because the character was made feet on the ground in this position, I'm actually going to grab this keyframe and put it at 7. Which means the other time that it does that is going to be at 19. Because that's when the other leg is on the ground directly underneath. So that's its high point. And so now I need to go to 1. And I just need to grab this, drag it down slightly, probably to about there. And you can see how that fixes that leg a little. So we'll key that right there. And that means that we gotta just duplicate that and stick it right there at 25. That way it loops properly. But we also know that we're gonna have this same pose but flipped at 13. So we're going to duplicate this keyframe, put it at 13, and that'll make everything bend a little bit nicer. You can see very, very sine wave movement. And that's going to be because we haven't touched our graph editor. So I'm actually going to go into here, look at our graph editor. I'll grab these keyframes, right? Torso. And Z location is the one that I care about. So I'm going to hide all the others. And yeah, let me Here we go. So you can see very sine wave movement. So we can see these zeros. We want it to be nice and rounded at these zeros, but we actually want it to be sharp down here. So I'm going to handle type vector. I'm just going to make each of these vector, and then we'll take a look back at it. And we'll see, now it should come through and bounce off the bottom, and bounce off the bottom, and throw a little bit, hopefully, what this will do is throw a little bit more weight in the movement. Yeah. So you can see it is, like, boom. It's almost like a bouncy ball, you know? Where gravity slows it down towards the peak, but when it hits the ground, it is like, boom, near instant reversal of velocity. And what we're seeing here is instant reversal of velocity. And it looks not great. But what we're going to do first is we're going to map out, now that we have like this, which is much closer than the sine wave movement that we had before to what we actually want, we are going to go here and we're going to tweak these foot movements a little bit better. So, okay. So as you're putting your foot down, you're likely rolling, turn off that. So yeah, this is rolling the wrong thing here. This is rolling from the toe. Here's actual toe roll. So let's leave this alone for right now. Let's go, as you pick up your other foot, this point is going to kind of stay on the ground. So we'll have it stay to about here. If I grab this, we'll actually have a keyframe. So 7, it hits its midpoint. So we'll actually have this stay on the ground. Boom. Just key that in. For a little bit longer, but then we'll take this. Move that up. We're not going to do that. We're going to just put in the rotation stuff. So now what does this do? It starts to slide forward. We don't want it to slide forward. So what if I grab you, unkey that Z? So actually at 7, let's go over here so we have this foot. Whoa. Ignore all those key presses. I just slapped my hand down on the keyboard. We're gonna rotate this like that. Duplicate this to 13 and duplicate it to 25 just in case. We're going to move this so we actually need you to come back to 5. Then we want it 13, it to actually roll back slightly. And then right about here, we want this to come back flat. don't like how far this swings up anymore. So we're gonna do one of those. So he steps on it. Alright, let's start here. So it starts stepping on it. We'll have to tweak that rotation just slightly. And brings it up. Flexes the toes. Before here, I think 16. I want to make sure that this foot is flat. So let's go back and tweak this toe roll here. So let's go to 5. So this purple line is our ground plane. So let's make sure that we're not clipping our ground plane. Let's take a look at this. So what are you seeing here? I don't want that heel to come off the ground until probably about here. So let's duplicate that all the way around. Yeah, that's already looking a lot better. It's a lot more alive, a lot more subtle movements, a lot more stuff like you'd see in a foot. So you can see the rough block out that we started with the other foot, and then this one, how we changed it. It just looks a lot more like a foot, which is, you know, what we're shooting for here. So now we get to rebuild that all in the other one. So let's start with just this base, right? Because now we've got a keyframe at 7, keyframe at 13, keyframe at 25. So let's double check. Yep. So we don't want the one at 7, but we do want the one at 13, 19, and 25. So we're good there. Let's take a look at this heel roller right here. So this is where we've got a bunch of stuff going on. So we've got one at 4, so 3 frames before its midpoint. And let's just take a look at what all those are doing. So this is heel up off the ground a little bit to get that step through. Then we've got heel even a little higher. Then here we've actually rolled it back the other way to prep for landing. Then we've got heel fully on the ground, toes fully on the ground. And then we keep that going until we hit the loop. So, if we now offset this by 30 degrees, or 90 degrees, because units are called trigonometry. So we can see heel slightly tipped back, which if we go to 13, heel slightly tipped back. And then we've got heel forward, heel a little forward, and we've got that. So let's go here. And let's look at what we've got going on 4, right? Heel tipped way up. So let's go to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Ugh. I'm confusing myself. Let's just grab all of these, right? Control C. Go to here. Control V. Control V. And save. So now, you can see they're doing all the wrong things. So now let's just grab these and put number 1 at 13. And yeah, we've got weirdness. So this 25, we know, goes here. because that's the loop. And let's just see. We've got something. So then this, if we duplicate this, chuck it there, this 37. Yep. Should be the same. I think I can get rid of that. Yep, so we've got 1, 2, gap, 1, hold, 1. So now we've got 1, 2, a gap, 1, hold. So we're missing one. We're missing something here. 13. Do it look bad? So, okay, so we've got 1, 2, big gap, 1, and hold, and then we'll loop. So, we've got 1, 2, big gap, 1, hold, and then here's the loop. So yeah, we've got all the keyframes that the other one has. We're not missing any. So now let's grab this, and let's do the same thing. Copy them in, go over to this. We can just go to 13, because that's odd. Okay. Control C. Control V. Okay. We'll go copy. Paste. No selected F curves to paste into. There we go. And now we just drag over to 13. I'll just say, okay. So, this 25 goes over here to loop. You get dragged to your one after. And let's see how this looks. Whoa. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, let's take a look at what this is doing. Oh, hello. I see. Let me just opt out of targeted advertising. Hello. Welcome to the stream. We're just making little game animations for this guy, so we can port him over to Unreal and work on him there. So right now we're just working on getting like toe rolls and stuff. So yeah, so that handles the actual toe down. So if I just let it play, yeah, it just kind of clunks its foot down. So we just want to get these. So let's look at the other foot where we copied them from. So we start on then 13 is its forward position, toe up. And then one frame later it gets that, and then it gets that. So let's look back at this one, right? This one's 1 is right here, which would be this. So if I just take these and duplicate them over. There we go. That's exactly what I want. I don't know why that didn't work when I tried it a couple minutes ago. I'm sure I just did something wrong. So now we've got this little walk. Obviously, a lot of need to do a little bit of work on these hips. So let's just pause it and save it real quick. And then we don't need the non-linear animator right now. It's more for keeping track later as we go. So let's take a look here. Let's make this graph a little bigger. You there. To widen these out just a little bit. And we'll see how this looks. There we go. Smooth them out a little bit. Okay. Cool. Non-linear animation. Let's go back into here. So now we've got the walk cycle built in with all the IKs. So now I'm just gonna grab all of these, and yeah, so these are gonna be layered later in Unreal. So we can see all of our keyframes down here that we were using. So now we'll just pose, animation, bake action. Don't overwrite the current action, 1 to 24, visual keying, blah blah blah. Yep, that all looks good. Ka-chow. There we go. We get a new action with all of our bones. I want to make sure just the bones are all in there, because that just helps out. So we'll just call this walk cycle, and then we can go ahead and push this down, and there we go. Now I got the walk cycle over here, and I can just let it run, and it runs. Woo! Look at that, magic. It's not magic. It's math, I guess. It is too much for me to remember. I guess it's math. It's code. It's just glorified math. So yeah, I see we have one person viewing the stream. We've got like a couple animations to do. Is there anything you'd want to see this do? We can make a little animation for it. I need to make a handful of animations, like adding a couple extras is no issue. Alright, if you think of anything, shoot it in the chat. Otherwise, I will go ahead and just start. Need some kind of like sword hit, I think. So yeah, I'll start with that. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to leave that and and start with that. The indecisiveness, it's hard. Alright, let's turn off the walk cycle, go back to the base pose here. And let's take a look over here. So we've got a sword, a shield, an axe, and a gun. So the easiest is probably going to be the gun. And for the motion, I'm in my chair kind of trying to mime the motion that I want. Okay. So it's going to need to step forward with its left foot and kind of pivot and extend this arm out in front of it. So let's start from the hips, because those are really going to drive everything else. So let's grab these in their position, because they're going to have to start from here. And maybe let's extend our range out to 48. So I'll duplicate this at 49, just so that we can get a nice loop going. Don't have to worry about that. So let's say, let's give it a 1 second wind up. So it'll be 24 is when it'll be fully pivoted, ready to fire. So let's pivot the hips to here. And then we're actually going to want the hips to hold probably until just 36. Yeah. There we go. So he does a little shimmy for right now. And we can now start to really look at the other things. So it's going to start to pivot the hips. Probably when it's about here, I want it to pick up its front foot and start to move it forward. So I'm going to toss a keyframe right there. And then at 24, when it's finalized, let's take a look at it from above. Let's grab it out, rotate it around, match the hips. Yeah, let's take another look at the hips here, right? I'm going to grab them down slightly, so I have a little more room to play with the legs. In terms of their positions and stuff, without just like knees being locked and stuff being weird. So I want to put it here, and yeah, we can keep that rotated forward. So yeah, we'll kick that foot there, and this foot we're also gonna want yeah, I think this one's gonna start at this one's gonna start at 12. You are gonna start probably at 8 and end at 12 or 6. Let's just see how this looks. Yeah, so we'll have this take a quarter of a second, and we'll do this foot over half a second. So we'll start this at 12, because we can't have both the feet off the ground at the same time, or it looks like it hops. And anytime the foot is moving, we got to bring it off the ground. So let's now take a look at 24, because we're gonna have it drop its foot back. So let's drop that leg back and pivot it out, right? And then do that. Okay. So now looking at some of the animations that we want to do. I haven't really touched weight painting on a lot of this because I want to see how it's going to move and then see kind of what needs tweaking. You know, I could make it a perfect rig, but because I'm shipping it in a game, as long as all the things that I need it to do look okay, then it's good. It doesn't matter if there's like weird clipping if you never see it. So let's get this here at 24. So, what did I do? I don't know. So yeah, we're gonna have to weight paint this probably a little bit. It's looking like it's getting a little too much influence from the right leg for this animation. Okay. So let's grab this here. And then at 24, we want to make sure this thing is ready to fire. So let's look at it here. Actually, I'm gonna grab these, pivot them a little more. We're going to start that motion here, so let's Alt R and KR. So there we go. Not everything happens at the same time. So now we've got a good idea of how far the head needs to come around. Which is a little further than I'd like it to have to come around. So let's tone this back a little bit. So maybe there. This shoulder movement. So we're gonna keep this, and then I'm gonna re-weight paint this just slightly. And then just remember to duplicate everything out afterwards. Did I have a hold on these? Yeah, I said until 36. Okay, and I forgot to do the feet. Let's get that over there. Let's get this over here. Let's get this until 36. Let's get this until I did it in 6 frames before, so 42. And drag this back to here, delete that. Okay, now we got this motion. Obviously arms and everything need to be reworked, but we're focusing on the core portion of the body first. And then we're going to go back and touch up weight paints and stuff like that. So okay, let's save this. Cut your shoulders. gonna be our most important thing next. So we have the main shoulder and foot thing. Let's get these hands going. So we want it. So starts out here, shield on this arm. Obviously the shield isn't here, but pretend, you know. So we start with the shield here, and then we'll step back and out of the way to then do. Because when we get to this pose, we want the shield over by the side, so it has to open itself up to counterattack to get the shot off. Because this is gonna be its gun. Yeah. So let's just start real basic up here. Actually here, just so I can see, and then we'll just constrain it so it can't move in the Z. We'll get this around, and we'll open up the hand slightly. That looks okay. So we'll get that going there. Yes, this is what happens when you forget to do stuff. Let's mute that channel. Let's grab you there. And then we'll duplicate you, grab you there, and then tell it to contribute. So the main thing is, this is going to be swinging around a big shield, so we want that to happen at the right times. So it starts to pivot its hips. Probably about here, if I... No. I think it might just need to do this. And then hold on to this until 36 when stuff starts to move back. Because that'll give us essentially this time frame in here to do the actual like firing and recoil animation, which is going to be real important. So then kick back into the neutral pose. So yeah, that'll be important. Yeah, I think we're coming up on an hour here. And I need to hit the gym. So we'll go ahead and leave this here, and we'll pick this up after the gym. And yeah, so just a little bit of animation work. We're theory crafting the animations as we go, and yeah, I've got a rough list of animations that we need, mostly off of these here, but yeah. Welcome to the shit show.